So in this video, we're looking at a combat stance, big toe extension, end range liftoff, okay? So it's likely the case that we've sort of programmed this in at the end of a bit of Pales rails work. So something like this is to be done close to end range, but remember we need to give ourselves, along with all sort of end range liftoffs, we need to be sort of 10 to 15 degrees outside of our range of motion. So let's say, for example, we did the big toe extension work jammed in against something where we were sort of up here, but we certainly need to take ourselves a little bit outside of end range so that when we go to lift off, there's actually an element of actually coming away from whatever you sort of have in place, and that other things aren't sort of compensating to help, okay? So if you have yourself too close to kind of like your max effort end range, you're going to find that you're not going to be able to lift, or something else is going to move that shouldn't be moving, okay? What I'm using in this position basically is I'm using my fingers to sort of act as the set point of where I should be lifting off from. You can see this is easily, if you're really struggling with big toe extension, this can be done from the floor, sort of like your toe cars in the combat stance. Just depends kind of how good of a big toe extension you really have in this position. But you can see to some degree as well, I can also adjust how much my knee sort of drives forward as well. So if I drive my knee way forward, I can find there's almost a point where I can't really lift my big toe at all. But if I bring myself just a little bit out of dorsiflexion, I can actually lift my big toe separate to kind of all four, okay? And then if I take that another step further as well, I sort of add in like my fingers underneath to sort of see, okay, I'm not necessarily starting from the floor now, but I actually have something to sort of lift off of, create that tiny bit of space, hold max effort, and then come down. Okay, so when we set up for the movement itself, once we kind of have those few things sort of set up in terms of what our position should look like, we can see from here, just as we usually do with a lot of our end range work, we need to take in that big inhale, irradiate all that tension throughout the entire body, really stiffen up the tissue, kind of on the front side here, that would lift off the toe, and then very slowly in a controlled manner, you can see I'm going to try and do my best to sort of lift off, create that space, not let anything else move, and really just achieve as much big toe extension as I can. As I control down, I make sure that I sort of parachute down. I don't just sort of flop and relax with my big toe. I actually control the descent down that eccentric portion of the movement, okay? That would be one rep. I'll take my big inhale again, really create that tension around the foot, around the front of the foot as well. I'll lift off as much as possible, create that space, hold it, slowly down again. I'm gonna go for a third and final. I'm gonna create that tension throughout the body. Lift off, hold, really try to get everything to light up on the front side here, and then slowly down and control. Perfect, okay? So this is a very, very subtle and very, very small movement, and there's a lot of things that you can do in terms of setup to really make it relative and adjusted for exactly where you are at this moment in time. So make sure you take all those stuff into account. We shouldn't be finding that like the four toes themselves are moving when we try to come into extension. It should literally just be that big toe. So that's why we want to slow things down. We want to break down each rep, and we want to make sure that the movement is coming from the right area. And just as I was saying, it's probably done at the end of some Pales rails work. So make sure you set up that distance or that sort of end range position just a little bit outside what would have been the position that you just worked from for the Pales rails work, because you're probably not going to be able to lift off from that range, okay? But questions on that movement in particular, be sure to let me know in the comment section. If you like this video, be sure to like it, and if you want to see more videos like this, then subscribe to the page as well. But for the moment, I'll see you soon.